guess what's happening right now? I'll give you a hint. It's the Olympics. Woo! It's all very exciting. Jumps and flips and throwing things. I don't know. It's a big time. Okay, so as usual, let's leap into a little bit of history first because the Olympics are not super new. In fact, they're rather old. They started in ancient Greece around 3,000 years ago. The first written record of one was actually in 776 BC when a cook named Coroebus won the only event, which was a little 192-meter foot race. You go, Coco! Anyway, the legend is that Heracles, who was like Hercules but the Roman version, started the games with a mortal woman named Alcmene, which seems suspect because I'm pretty sure his girlfriend's name was Meg. She had a whole song, but she won't say she's in love. But I mean, Alcmene is fine also. I'm not mad. I'm over it. Whatever. So anyway, however they got started, and let's not count out Meg. It probably got started around the 700s BC and happened every 4 years, and the 4-year increment is known as an Olympiad. So when it started, it was just the foot race thing, and then after 13 Olympiads, they added the 400-meter race and then a longer distance race. We don't know exactly how long. And then they added the pentathlon and boxing and chariot racing, and my personal favorite, pankration, which is sort of like boxing and sort of like wrestling. It has virtually no rules. Literally just no biting and no gouging, which that was amazing. Chaos. Amazing. So the Olympics were very big. Everyone loved it. And then the Roman Empire conquered Greece, and the Olympics sort of stumbled a little bit in quality and standards. Might have gotten a little rigged. Emperor Nero put himself in the Olympics and then literally fell off his chariot in the race and declared himself the winner, and everybody was like, oops, sorry, what's this now? And then in AD 393, Emperor Theodosius called for a ban on all pagan festivals, so the Olympics ended. Wah, wah. But then in the 1890s, people were like, you know what was great was the Olympics, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, yes, whatever happened to those? That was so great. So the first modern one happened in 1896, and it was basically track and field, cycling, fencing, gymnastics, shooting, swimming, tennis, weightlifting, and wrestling. But no pankration, what a bummer. And everybody was like, this is amazing, we love this, except it was all male. We should have women because duh. So women competed for the first time in 1900, but it literally took until 2012 for women to compete in every Olympic sport, which is wild. Ever since 1991, any new sport seeking to join the Olympics must include women's competitions, which yay, but why did it take so long? But yay. So let's get into this year. So technically this is the 2020 games, but because of COVID, these are the rescheduled games from last year, but we're staying with the schedule. So the next one's going to be in 2024. There are going to be 339 events in 33 different sports, which include 5 new sports: baseball/softball, karate, sport climbing, surfing, and skateboarding, which you might be like, what? How? But let's get into it. Okay, so for a new sport to be added, first they have to be recognized as a sport from the International Olympic Committee. Then it needs an international non-governmental organization that oversees the sport. Then after that, it moves to the International Sport Federation status, where it has to enforce the Olympic movement anti-doping code, including conducting in and out of competition tests on competitors. Then they have to apply for admittance by filing a petition establishing the criteria of inclusion in the Olympics, which includes a lot of things, like how long the sport has existed, the value the sport would add to the Olympic legacy, the cost of developing and broadcasting the sport, the popularity of the sport itself, which is super interesting in itself. To be accepted by the Olympics as a sport, it has to be practiced by men in at least 75 countries on 4 continents, and women in no fewer than 40 countries in 3 continents. Isn't that interesting? So anyway, there are all those criteria, and then there are a few other random rules, like the rules against mind sports, which keeps chess out, and the sports dependent on mechanical propulsion, which keeps automobile racing out, and any sport that's in the Olympics is up for reevaluation and removal anytime it doesn't meet the criteria anymore, which has happened to at least 10 sports since the first modern Olympics: croquet, cricket, jeu de paume, which is like tennis with hands, pelota, polo, roque, which is like American cricket, rackets, tug of war, lacrosse, and motorboating. So that's a very brief history of the Olympics. There's also a whole lot more here, and honestly, there are a lot of really tricky parts of the Olympics, like blood doping has been a big thing recently, and how the cities are chosen, and unintended side effects for the games for the host countries and cities, and political issues like the use of disputed flags and the use of resources for the games, and issues this year with swim caps designed for natural hair not being allowed, and the games giving rise to nationalism is debated. There's a lot, so keep learning about it, but here's the start to many Olympic-based rabbit holes. Hope you love it!